Hi, everybody. This is Joe Lutz. I'm going to talk to everyone about win time this next semester and what it's going to look like, some changes we're making, and why we're making those changes. First off, survey results. The staff and students took a survey back in November about win time. The results were really favorable for win time from both the student and staff perspectives. Our highest points was the student-staff relationships. From both the students and the staff, win time was viewed as really helping student-staff relationships, and it was very high. The biggest suggestion we had from the staff was um, keeping win time and advisory consistent on a consistent schedule throughout the week. So whether it's having win time and advisory in the morning throughout the week or after lunch, just keeping that consistent. Those were the biggest comments that we had, biggest suggestions from the staff survey. Another piece of data that we looked at was Josh Earhart pulled DNF lists for students to see our struggling students if they're getting to the classes that they need help in, and overwhelmingly, um, most of them are not. So that's one thing we monitored for several weeks to see if maybe it was an outlier that just one week was off, but consistently the students that are struggling are not getting the classes that they need to get to for extra help. So the Win Time Committee and myself, Jill and Whitney, looked at, and we've been looking at the digital system Discovery Middle School uses, and we've agreed it's now an efficient system at the middle school level. The principal at Discovery, Greg, he had worked prior to at Liberty High School, and he managed Eagle Hour and their system of Eagle Hour, their electronic system. At the high school level, the system was only used for students who needed to go to closed sessions. Of course, at the middle school level, all the middle schools, students go to closed sessions and they have the opportunity to go to open sessions. So at Discovery this past semester, they worked through some kinks in the system of how to make that system work for the middle school and how to make it work for students going to both closed and open sessions. After looking at the system they have in place at Discovery Middle School, this electronic system, the Win Time Committee and myself, we really like it, and that's the route we want to go for next semester. The system's really easy to use. I'm going to walk us through how to use that system here. The system's called the WALL, and we're going to use the same acronym. It stands for Win Assignment Log Link. Win Assignment Log Link. And we'll have a link for this system along with the win time spreadsheet on the LMC site where we have kept it before. So the WALL, the Win Assignment Log Link. Students at Discovery, they call it the WALL, and I think our students will probably eventually use that same terminology as well. To log into this system, you just need your e-number and the password that goes along with your e-number. Each time you update your password, it automatically updates in this system as well. So I'm going to go ahead and log in here with my e-number. My system is going to look a little bit different than yours because I have administrator rights to manage the system. I have a couple more tabs up here that you're not going to have. The two main tabs you are going to need are assignments and assigned students. I'll go through those in just a minute. Up here on the top left, you'll see this says Discovery Middle School. We put in a request for a SVMS logo to be placed up here, and that'll be updated soon. A couple of the tabs that you guys aren't going to see, I just want to run through real quick. Blackout days, you're not going to see that. That's for me to go in there, and blackout days that we don't have school or that are advisory days. Let's go back here. Assignments. So on your main page, you're going to see students that have requested to attend your win time for the following week, and students that you have assigned to your win time. I'm in here under SVMS Test Teacher, and I've assigned a couple of students, SVMS Test Student and Brenna. And I'll walk through how students request you for a closed session and how students, or how you assign students to a closed session, how students request you for an open session. So before, we've used the stamping system where we stamp students for closed sessions in their agenda. We don't have to worry about stamping students anymore. Rather, they're going to get what I'm going to call a digital stamp. So if you need to assign a student to your session, you're offering a closed session. You go to assign students. You start typing in their name, and you're going to notice all the students in the school whose names start with BRE are going to show up in the drop-down menu. You have access to all the students in the building. So I'm going to find Brenna, and then her wall. This is what she sees. Blackout days, I went in here and I put down, okay, when we do not have school on advisory days, so Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I put down advisory so students don't get confused. We don't get confused on assigning students on those days. I also blacked out Thursdays because you're going to have the same students on Tuesday as you did Thursday. Okay, so Brenna's wall, Brenna's calendar, it's the same thing. This is what she sees. I assigned her to January 9th. I assigned her January 16th to a closed session. If I want to assign her again, you can see the date is kind of backwards. It's backwards here, so it's January 23rd. I want to assign her to January 23rd. I'm in here under SBMS Test Teacher. I'm going to click Add, and then you can see it put a green. It put the date I assigned her, January 23rd, is green. And then it also populated another date, the next date. When I click Submit, and you have to click Submit in order to assign the student, the red date will go away, and it will turn bluish green, bluish gray. Okay, so now her wall, she will see that I assigned her to January 23rd, and you can see those other dates that populated have disappeared. So I go back here to assignments, and I can see I assign Brenna to January 23rd. Again, on this, when I'm assigning a student on their wall, the date comes up backwards, so it's January 30th. I could see some people getting confused on that. Just be aware of that. Let's go back here to assignments. I assigned her to my closed session. So let's say January 9th. I want to see who all is coming to my session for January 9th. This is also where you will take attendance. So I go to January 9th, and I can see I have 2 students that are coming to me for my closed session. Yours is going to look a little differently. You're going to take attendance off this. Lisa Krogi also has administrator rights, so she can help with attendance. Thursdays, I have blacked out. You will not take attendance on Thursdays through the electronic system. On Thursdays, if you have a student who's absent, you just email Krogi because you have your list from Tuesday. Tuesday, you will take attendance in the wall system. Thursday, you will email Krogi any students that are absent. So for each date, I can type in who I have coming to me for that date. So the 16th, right now it's only Brenna that has been assigned. So that would be for a closed session. Now for an open session, students are going to be able to see on the LMC website, again, the spreadsheet that we've been using, what session you're offering, and then they're going to go back into the wall, and they are going to, let's pull up a student again. I'll go back to Brenna's wall. Say she wants to go to Keeler for extra math practice. You can add, they can add notes in here. You can add a note in here as well, extra math practice. Click add, and then it's green right now. It automatically sends Ms. Keeler an email, and Ms. Keeler can then accept or deny on her wall. Anytime you assign a student, it sends them an email. Anytime a student asks to request to join your open session, it also sends you an email. Okay, so on the LMC website, they'll have the wall link, they'll have the spreadsheet link. One thing we, as a one-time committee, that we wanted to add to our spreadsheet is a description. From the titles of some of the classes, students are getting confused on what the class is offering. And the other key piece to this is, of course, the academic side of it. For our different win offerings. It would be great to have the learning target that goes along with, say, let's use math as an example, uh, decimals in two-step equations, the learning target for decimals with two-step equations. They would type in the learning target that goes with that for um, their math practice, so students know exactly what they're doing during that win time. Some students are just getting confused based on the title of the class, what the class is offering, but also, most important piece, the academic piece, we want to make sure that we're getting down to the specific learning targets. That's the whole point of win time, that we're helping students on those specific learning targets they need help with. So back to the win wall, the two main tabs you're going to use: assignments. You can see who's requested your class. You can go in, allow and deny them. It'll send students an email when they're denied and when they're accepted. If students are denied, it's up to them to then go back and request another teacher for an open session. Closed sessions, you go to assign students, you find the students you need, and you assign them. It sends them an email, and they're just automatically assigned. They don't have to accept or anything. Another tab here that will come up that we're not going to be using is clubs. At the high school, they use this. We don't offer clubs at the, during win time at the middle school level. Our platform that we use, the wall, has to be the same platform at the high school and at Discovery and us. We all have to have the same functions. Otherwise, the technology department has to have 3 different platforms to use, and it just gets way confusing. So we have to have one platform to use. So clubs they use at the high school, we don't use at the middle school level. Absences, you can see students have been absent. You're going to see over here where it says move to detention. That's a Jill and Whitney function. We're not going to concern ourselves with that. So students, especially the student that you think has been consistently absent, you can go in there and check their absent history with your class, or actually any student for that matter. Students request history. So this right here, don't worry about that. That's just the administrator side of things. But Tommy Eads, he's a 7th grade student. I can see, so September 26th, so he requested and was accepted. October 3rd, he was denied. You can go in there and see his history in the wall, which I think is a very good, a nice feature. The main 2 tabs, again, assignments, assigned students are what you're going to deal with. Assigned students, especially for those closed sessions. Assignments, going to be your open sessions, your closed sessions, and also where you'll take attendance. On Thursdays for attendance, you'll send an email to Croaky of any students that aren't there. So I put together a timeline. Actually, the WIN committee put together a timeline and a fast facts link here to help walk through this system. By Wednesday, 7 a.m. every week, if you're assigning students to a closed session, you need to have them assigned in the wall. Shouldn't take you very long to go in there and just assign students. It will send them an email. They don't have to accept it, but they're automatically assigned to your class for a closed session. The reason why we need that is for then the next couple of days, Wednesday, Thursday, and part of Friday, students who are going to open sessions can then go and request access to teachers' classes using the wall system. If a student's denied, they need to be able to have a little time to go and try to find another class. During Monday advisory, real simple. Instead of teachers going around and looking at or asking students where they're going for one time, students just log into their wall. Teachers walk around, make sure students are assigned and they know where they're going for that week. An issue that I know is going to happen, you're going to have some students who don't get signed up, or maybe a student is denied. They don't check their email, so they don't have a place to go by Friday afternoon. My job Friday afternoon, I'm going to go in there and assign those students to start with to an overflow room. I'm just going to take those students myself, and we'll probably have another teacher, that there will be an overflow room in which those students are assigned to. And we'll try to come up with some kind of rotating basis so it's not the same teacher in charge of the overflow room. Hopefully that'll get worked out and we won't have as many students going to the overflow room. Also, another option is for us to assign students on Friday afternoon to different classes. So you might end up with some students that you don't have or who did not request you, but I had to have them. I had to place them somewhere so they might be in your class because you're not, say you only had 15 students sign up for your class, you would then obviously have room for a couple more, and that would be largely those open sessions. Attendance, of course, you're going to take attendance on Tuesdays through the wall system. On Thursdays, you'll email Krogi any students that are absent. PE, a big a part of this system that Discovery worked through was what to do about PE. Because guess what? Students want to request the open sessions in PE. So the PE teachers would get 150 emails. And then they'd have to go in there and accept or deny. They would accept 25 kids and deny 125 kids. And then some of those kids would not get themselves signed back up for another class. So the system that they use, and our one-time committee would like to use this as well, is we will send students through PE a Google form whether they would like to attend the PE win sessions, just yes or no, if that would be an option for them. And then of those students, there'll be a rotating basis. 25 students will be assigned for 1 week, and then a different 25 students will be assigned the following week. So students will not be able to request PE because the teachers will just be overloaded with emails and having to accept and deny students. So any student who wants to be assigned to PE, there'll be a Google form. They'll be able to say they want to be assigned, and then based off that spreadsheet, we'll assign students on a rotating basis. Helpful links, the wall, win offerings, some enrichment ideas. We'll continue with our priority weeks. That's based off of on our spreadsheet. Let's see here, sub buddies. Several questions I've had first semester. Okay, what do we do about subs? Well, first off, you want to include win in your sub plans. Yes, I wouldn't make it overly difficult. If you're going to be gone on a Tuesday or a Thursday, I would probably just make it a study hall. Also, with the digital system, you need to have a sub buddy. So it probably just one of your neighbors, that one of your teacher neighbors. So for me, it would be Mrs. Flavin. If I'm gone on a Friday or a Monday, she would just work with my sub. Okay, they need to have on Monday, the sub needs to go around and check the wall, have all the students log in, and Mrs. Flavin would communicate that with her or go in there herself and just check the student's wall on their device. But one other thing, part of the timeline. On Wednesdays, teachers remind students, this is more during advisory, remind students that now it's their time to go and request teachers to for those open sessions. So if a student's been assigned a closed session, they should know that. They'll have gotten an email. If not, they can go into the WIN wall and they can request where teachers to go to. So they'll be able to see the spreadsheet. Okay, I want to go to grab bag history, looks fun, Mrs. Block. They go into the wall system and they request that teacher based off their wall. So let me go here again, Brenna. So on the 30th, say she wants to go to Miss Block. Miss Block's name populates. She can just click Miss Block. Notes. She doesn't have to put a note in there, and she just clicks add, and it'll send the teacher an email. So again, we want the success criteria, description of the class, students able to see what's going on the spreadsheet for the following week. Students then can request access for those open sessions. Let's go back to the timeline. So between Wednesday and Friday afternoon, any students that has the opportunity to go to an open session can then request. Friday afternoon, I will assign any students that aren't signed up in the system to the overflow classroom. I will start with the overflow classroom myself, so I'll just assign those students to myself for the first couple of weeks until we can get this system in place. I really think the system will work well for us. I think it's easy to use. The Win Time Committee, we met with their Win people at Discovery. I've met with them several times, and this is something we've just been evaluating throughout the year. The system we have in place is especially with recording where students have gone or going for Win Time during advisory. It's worked well to the extent that we were able to see specifically where students are going and that students are taking advantage of classes or they're not taking advantage of the opportunities One Time has for them for retakes and stuff like that. With this new system, though, students are digitally stamped. We don't have to worry about the stamping. We don't need to worry about the clipboards anymore. We don't have to worry about students crossing off each other's names and things of that nature. The system we had was working, but this just helps it make One Time more efficient. As you have questions, please see me or any of the One Time Committee members. I will of course be monitoring this system throughout this next semester, and there will be some other things we'll add to it. But for right now, all our students are in the system. The system's ready to go. It's just a matter of us getting the system off the ground. Thank you, guys.